When you bring data into Power BI and you're looking at it in Power Query, you sometimes want to replace certain values with other values, and this can be done in your Power Query. So for example, I'm going to choose the query Sales 2019 by 2021, and I want to replace some of the brands that I see in this column here called brand. And so I will choose to go to replace values, which is here in the transform group, and this little window pops up. So it says, what is the value that you want to find? Well, I want to find every brand that says a datum, and my spelling has to be spot on. A datum, including my spaces, has to be spot on because that's what it's going to look for in this column. And a datum has actually been rebranded and it is now called Acme Limited. So that's what I'm wanting to replace. All instances of a datum, which you can see here in this column, with Acme Limited. So when I go OK, it's automatically updated it, and that's a step that appears in my query settings. So we can replace one value with another. But now I want you to have a look at the drop down on the brand column heading. Notice that there's 2 instances of Fabricam and 2 instances of Litware. That is because the original spreadsheet where this came from, people were entering in the brand, and some of them entered Fabricam space and some of them entered Fabricam. Some of them entered Litware space and some of them entered Litware. And so they appear as 2 different entries in the filter. So I want to replace all instances of Litware space with Litware. So I go to my transform group and my replace values button, Litware space, replace with Litware, and OK. That will get rid of all the spaces. I hit the drop down and I only see now 1 instance of Litware. So I have to repeat the process for Fabricam. Replace values, find Fabricam space and replace it with Fabricam, and OK. If I then hit the drop down, I think, oh, I can still see some. So there must have been some Fabricams with 2 spaces. So I repeat the process. Replace values, Fabricam space is to be replaced with Fabricam, and OK, and that should get rid of all the Fabricams and the Litware with extra spaces after them. So that's another example where you could use the find and replace to tidy up your data. But sometimes we want to replace null values. See how all these instances of null here? We want to replace null values with 0. And so that's my next thing. I would like to do it to the to a number of columns actually. So I'm going to scroll a little bit to the right and click Sales 2019, hold the Shift key and click Sales 2021. These 3 columns, I want to replace all the nulls with zeros. So replace values, and I literally type null and I replace it with 0. When I then go OK, oh, and it doesn't like me there. Let me just have a look at that. Interesting. It doesn't like the capital N. And so these, you're going to have to put null in here with no capital. And now I can go OK and replace all the nulls with 0. And that is exactly what it's done to those 3 columns. So if your data is not quite correct, consider using the replace values in the home tab of the Power Query editor to replace one value with another. And you can see those steps appearing in my query settings.